This is what you call a barn find. In Sedalia, Missouri, I find Gunner Ramey's very cool little race operation here, the G&T Farms, Terry Doogs Racing operation. You would never know this place is even back here, Gunner.
It's hidden down here.
That's probably not a bad thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I really like how bold your race car designs are. It's almost like they have impact.
Yeah. Impact yellow, and they're bright and they stand out.
Yeah, David loves the impact part of it and the standing out stuff. I like the fact that your lid you've kind of just gone the grey and a sort of a matte grey. What was your thinking behind having the helmet that colour?
That was actually all David and Mark Clement.
Okay.
Clem's helmets paint. So they did a suit and helmet to match it, and that was their design they came up with.
I like it.
Looks awesome.
So you have a connection with this team that dates back to many, many teams before you, including probably their most famous protege or apprentice is Brian Brown.
Yeah. So Brian Brown drove for Terry and Tim and Gina way back in the day, and then Jonathan Cornell as well drove for them, and that's kind of how I got introduced to this. My dad went to the races a lot with Jonathan and Terry back many years ago, and when I was just a little kid, I started going with him as well and scraping mud and playing in the dirt, and so I've known Terry and Tim and Gina since I was a little kid, and here we are years later, and I'm driving the 21 car now.
And I think that David told me that Brownie still runs the 21 because of that.
Yeah, so as far as I know, that's what it all stems back to. Is the first car he drove was this 21 car. So
yeah, cool little place. Where does the name Gunner come from? You're the only Gunner that I know in America, anyway. I imagine it's German. It sounds like it's got a German.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit. I think it mostly comes from my dad being in the Navy and being a big duck hunter. So I think that's what it stems back to.
That's better than Donald if you get the whole duck connection, right?
There you go.
So why did racing come into your world?
It's all I've ever known, to be honest. Like I said, I grew up with the Hockett family.
Yeah.
Going to the races with them and going to the races with Jonathan Cornell and stuff. And since I was a kid, it was Sprintcar diecast and going to the races with my dad. And so I just grew up, and that's all I've ever known. So when I was 7, I got into it and just never looked back.
So there's a lot of races in this area.
Yeah, there is. There's a bunch of tracks in this area. Unfortunately, it's slowed down a little bit, but there's a lot of racing in this area for sure.
Now, you have this weekend, you have the Sedalia State Fair race, and Brownie's racing in that, so you're hoping he'll run second and you'll take the win?
Maybe we can have a nice podium sweep, me one and him too.
Yeah. I'll check in with Brian and I'll let you know what he comes back and says, all right?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll have something to say about that.
How did David and Julie come into your world?
So somewhere down the line, my family's actually related to them, but when I started racing four-wheelers when I was 7 years old, they were my first sponsor ever alongside of Jonathan Cornell, the Cornell's family powder coat shop, Surecoat.
Yep.
So they were both my first 2 sponsors, and wrapped our trailer and our four-wheeler and stuff my first year racing when I was, like I said, 7. So it's been with them since then, and it's been a great partnership over the years, and now I work for them as well. So
yeah, and what do you do at Impact? Because right now you should be helping to move the building.
Yeah, I'm missing out on
I've snuck you away from that.
Wade's got me away from that.
Sorry, David.
But the director of estimating and engineering. So I do all of our engineering for steel poles and concrete foundations for all of our signs. And then I do the estimating as well for coding all of our signs. So
what an incredible building that new building is.
It's amazing. It's every time I go out there, it looks bigger. It's quite massive, and it's going to be great. We're pretty much out of room at the other one, so it's going to be a good opportunity to grow and keep expanding.
I've already seen your office. I'm pretty sure it's got more stuff in it than when I saw it a couple of nights ago. David is wide open.
Yeah, they're busy people, and they've done a great job with their business. It's actually pretty inspirational. Just seeing what they've came from when they started in their garage, and between David and Julie, they've just grown this thing, and it's been straight up. So it's really cool to see and be a part of, and looking forward to the next several years with them.
Tell me about the Doogs, because I noticed I'm on Doogs Road as well, by the way. I don't suppose that's a coincidence.
Yeah. So Tim and Gina have been in the racing world forever, and Terry, Tim's brother, has been involved with it forever as well. And like we said earlier, they have many different drivers, and Tim drove for many years, and Brian Brown drove for many years, and Jonathan Cornell and Miles Paulus, and now me. So just a big racing family. They've always been a part of it, and great people to be involved with for sure.
Okay, so what do we got rolling here? We've got a couple cars. This is a brand new car over here that you've only run once or twice, did you say?
Yeah, we just ran that car a couple times. This is our primary car that we'll run this weekend all 3 nights, and that we've ran for the most part of the year. And then this is kind of just an older spare car that we run at Double X Speedway a little bit when we get the chance. So, yeah, this is the primary car, though, so it's been good to us, and it got hurt in it, and it got crashed and fixed, and just worked just as good as it did before. So
yeah. So what happened when you got hurt?
Just wrong place, wrong time. Kind of all 3 cars in the same spot. Got into the wall at Lake Ozark Speedway at an all-star show, and unfortunately broke my T5 vertebrae. So that put me out for the rest of the year. So I missed about half of last year. So trying to play catch up on that and get as many races in as we can.
So never any doubt you were going to come back?
No, I knew I was going to come back. I was hoping I was going to be able to come back right at the end of the year last year. That didn't work out, which is probably for the better, take time to heal and everything like that. So, I knew I was going to come back, just needed the time to heal. And thankfully, one of our partners, Peak Sport and Spine, Mike Trammell, physical therapy business. And that was huge for me. That sped the recovery up as well. And just knowing Mike and being involved with him was a real help. It was a great business, but never really knew anything about it, and I got firsthand, showed what it was all about, and it was huge for me in my recovery. So that was really cool to be able to work with them, and they did a lot for me in helping me recover as fast as I could.
So your dad used to race 4-wheelers back in the day?
Yeah, he raced hare scramble a little bit.
Oh,
and, tore himself up pretty good. So always been involved with racing. His dad and his uncle raced forever, and he grew up going to the nationals and never missed a race around here. So I just grew up into it, and like I said earlier, that's pretty much all we've ever known.
So you did your 4-wheeler racing like Dad. This little 7-year-old kid, he meets David and Julie Goodson, and later on he ends up hanging out with the Doogs and doing that stuff. Let's just think about that 7-year-old kid that now has a primary car, a new car, and the spare backup over here.
Yeah,
things are pretty good, mate.
Yeah, it's cool to see. It's stuff you always dreamed of, and that's where you want to end up. And definitely not done yet, but it's cool to see where we're at. Sometimes I got to remind myself I'm only 21, so just keep grinding and keep trying to work my way up the ladder and try to win some races. So yeah, growing up at 7 years old, going to the races, hanging out in the pits with Terry and Jonathan Cornell and Chetty Seipert, and here we are many years later, and now I'm the one racing and just trying to do the best we can and win some races.
Whereabouts would we be without car owners, Gunner?
I wouldn't be probably racing at this point in time.
Yep.
I don't come from a lot of money, so without car owners, like I said, I probably wouldn't be racing. When I was 15 years old, I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma to drive for the Holland family and driven Midwest racing micros, and drove with them for a couple of years and won a Power I National Championship. And even that, I wouldn't have been able to do that without them. And that was my first introduction to car owners, and just had a few over the years, but it's been really great and instrumental in my racing career.
What's it like to roll through that Turn 4 gate and roll into the middle of the Marion County Fairgrounds? Like, does it give you chills, or you go, oh no, this is just Knoxville?
It's crazy. I've been there many, many times, even before I was racing myself, just going to the nationals and stuff. But every time you roll in there, it gives you chills, and it's definitely back to a thing when you're a 7-year-old kid. That's stuff you dream about. So to get to race there is incredible. It's not like any other place in the world, I would imagine. So it's a little bit intimidating, very humbling, but a really cool experience for sure.
What is the remainder of the season for you like? What do you got left?
I think we got maybe 9 or 10 shows left. We got 3 this weekend. We got a lot of races left in Missouri, so that's cool. A year out close to home. And then we got the Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial at Lucas Oil Speedway again this year. I missed it last year, unfortunately, but excited to get back. It's always one of my favorites, and it's a race I really want to win as well. So, yeah, plenty of racing left for the year. Just try to get a win or two and finish it out strong.
I like your koozies that you've had done, and you do a lot of cool wrap work, obviously. So some of your stuff looks super cool. Do your merch and things, do you design that yourself, or?
Yeah, I've done a lot of the hats and stuff like that myself at work. I got the programs in my office, so after I clock out for the day, sometimes that's what I mess around with, just trying to design some stuff. So.
Well, you got access to some pretty good materials to do wraps and things like, my bedroom wall could use it. Mind you, do you have any wall size Royals images like Julie does? Or
no, I'm not quite as hardcore as the baseball.
She is hardcore, isn't she?
Julie Goodson loves the Royals.
Yeah, she sure does. It's really good to see you, mate. I'm glad that David, we had time to catch up yesterday when I was looking at his new shop, and I need to let you get back to work because you need to shift the building.
Time to go moving.
Good to see you, mate.
Good to see you. Thank you, Wade.